After having played Suicide Squad, dude, I have so many thoughts around just how crappy this game was. Before this game came out, I thought to myself, this is going to be a trash game. This is not going to be good. This is going to be very little that's redeeming about it. And there is, without a doubt, this is going to be extremely woke, right? So what happened when I picked up Suicide Squad? Dude, this game managed to somehow convince me, not only that my assumption was correct, but this game is even worse than what I assumed this game was going to be. For one, I just have to say it, man. Metropolis looks like absolute crap. You know, we were talking about all of this when we were playing, but there's something weird. Okay, for one, Metropolis has no personality. It has no... There's nothing like explicitly distinct about it, nothing unique. Like, buildings just exist. And something I notice is that it's like it's a lot of like maybe low resolution. It's really hard to like put exact words onto this. But there's something about it that feels very lazy about the world design. When you play a game like Arkham City, the world has, right? Gotham has a personality. It has the entire city that you're in Arkham City. Every area feels like there's a reason it's there. And it feels like this is a location set within DC Universe, right? Gotham. Metropolis in Suicide Squad, I have no idea. Like, this feels like some of the most bland world design I've ever seen. Throughout the game, the area doesn't mean anything, right? Things will happen, right? Kill the Justice League. Well, when things happen with the Justice League throughout this game, nothing fundamentally changes or happens to the world. Nothing is different. Nothing... It doesn't feel like you're in a living and breathing world. It feels like you're going through these levels, right? In this game, and everything just stays the same. It's all bland, it's all generic looking. And again, there's something so weird about the sleek, almost soulless design of the world, right? You look at the design of all the buildings, and it's flat colors, flat textures. There's nothing gritty about it. You don't see like any... I'm not even saying you should see grime, but right, there's just nothing on the buildings that indicates to you that there's, right, that this is a living world. There's nothing to it that, and I could come up with some examples, but like, right, like there's nothing that you see. Everything looks so generic and painfully generic. And you can probably see it on some of the footage, but it's like graffiti doesn't make your world have character. And having like random weather effects, like although that's a nice touch or whatever, it doesn't really do that much to actually bring out a personality and some sense of immersion to the world that you're creating. So there's something so bland about Metropolis in this game, with the way that they made everything flat, they made everything sleek, they made everything very like just one color on a lot of buildings. And why are all the buildings different colors? It's just there's so many weird design decisions with the way the world looks. It doesn't look unique, and it doesn't look like a Metropolis. It looks like other games, right? It looks like the most recent crappy woke Saints Row game. It looks like that, right? And other games that you can associate to that kind of color palette or that game design, which is really it's just soulless game design. It is so strange because there's a specific word I'm always searching for whenever I talk about this, and it strips all the freaking any kind of spiritual void. Like, there's a huge spiritual void in this game, and any kind of spiritual character that you can have to the spirit of what is Metropolis, it's just not here. So that's the world, man. The game, right? The story is just unbelievably nonsensical. And before I say that, honestly, let's just get this out of the way too. Freaking combat in this game this is one of the weirdest forms of like combat in gaming, by the way, where the worlds that you're stuck in, if you're watching it, the gameplay probably doesn't look that boring. Sometimes it doesn't. In other ways, it might. But when you're playing this combat, dude, it is not only tedious, but it is just lame. okay? It is repetitive. The combat that you start the game with is what you end with. The guns that you unlock, the new stats to the guns that you unlock, none of it means anything. You'll see like, oh, you have a Lex Luthor gun, now you have an Infamous gun, now you have a Notorious gun, and certain guns can have sets and set bonuses, right? None of it means anything. The set bonuses, maybe, but I'm gonna be quite honest with you. You start this game out with doing like 600 damage to enemies or whatever, or like 400 damage. I don't know why there's damage numbers. It makes literally no sense. Like, how do I gauge the relevance of my damage numbers? There's no grounded basis for how I'm doing damage, why it's doing all that damage. And again, the mechanics for this game are so annoying, man. It's tedious. You're like, a lot of enemies will have shields, so you have to melee them in order to get their shield broken. Then you can shoot them and you can do crit chance when you shoot them. But here's one of the issues. Some of the game mechanics for the combat doesn't even work, right? Like, it's supposed to be that if you shoot the legs of an enemy, it will stagger them to the point that they are shield harvestable, which means that's really one of the only times you can actually regenerate your shields is by shooting an enemy in the legs and then melee hitting them. Which, again, that's just it's very tedious. It's like, well, I can't shoot them. I can't, like, there's so little that you can actually experiment with. And that's one of the only ways, by the way, that you can get shields. So recovering your shields in this game is very frustrating because getting executions is hard because one of the issues with shooting them in the legs is more than half of the time, they never even stagger to be shield harvestable. It's so unbelievably frustrating playing this game because you're going to be dying. By the way, you're going to be dying from things, bullets you don't even see coming at you. You're like, what hit me? I randomly died and I have no idea what just hit me. Yeah, that'll happen a lot. Especially in late game, I was noticing that was happening a lot. I was just getting shot and I was like, where is it coming from? Enemies just endlessly spawn, right? There's no real moment of reprieve of any kind. So you're just going to be running around getting shot at constantly by enemies that you can barely harvest back a shield from. It's so unbelievably frustrating. And then, again, the mechanics don't even work. You know, you'll shoot them in the legs, right? And then the shield harvest doesn't even activate. So you'll end up killing the enemy instead of being able to harvest them. And that's a mechanic that's supposed to work. It doesn't work. The interaction is just faulty for whatever reason. And then one of the other issues that happen too, and by the way, the interaction is so random because there's other ways to like make them shield harvestable, but even that's not consistent. It's so strange the way that they set this whole game up. But then one of the other things, right, is that when you melee an enemy, they're supposed to typically get knocked up into the air, and then you can shoot them for critical hits. And there are times you'll melee them up into the air, and the game will auto lock onto the enemy for you. And what happens is, again, this is such a weird interaction. You melee the enemy, bro. And then this is literally what happens. It makes no sense. The camera will snap past the enemy. You're supposed to get up close, right? Do a melee hit, and then aim and get critical shots on an enemy that's midair. Guess what happens, right? Your camera, your crosshairs literally aim past the enemy. Go make sense of that. How the heck? You make this fundamental mechanic of doing extra damage to an enemy, right? And you have to melee tons of enemies in this game. I don't even know why you have a freaking gun. Like, there's so much of this game that's close combat. Makes no sense. But then you're telling me that the aiming system doesn't even work properly, that I'm constantly aiming past the enemies that I melee hit. So I can't even get the kill that you created a mechanic for. It is so, again, there's so many issues with this game, man. It's like they rushed this out. Bro, when I looked, by the way, at the credits, they had like hundreds. I don't know how many. They had so many Q&A testers for this game. Where were these people? Like, and that's just one issue, is the gameplay, how many kinks there are with the gameplay. And then you look at all the Q&A testers and you're like, these people didn't call this crap out? The game will freeze randomly, by the way. You will finish missions and the game will just freeze. you have to reboot the game. And sometimes I don't know if I had to restart any missions, but it does restart like certain elements of your progress within a mission. So it's so clunky, weird, and awkward. There'll be long loading times, I think, within multiplayer. I don't really know why. Like, really, and again, to say this game is a weird mixture of like good graphics, but again, very low detail textures and designs. So it's like there's not much for the graphics to be working with, right? Like the world looks so basic and plain and flat. So even if this game has good graphics, right, the character models look good and the lighting looks good in this game, but there's nothing within the world itself that to actually interact with for good lighting and for good graphics in this game. It's the weirdest, and what I call this at this point, this is lazy high graphical fidelity is what it is. You make a world where it doesn't take a lot of work to make it graphically, right? But you have a graphical engine that works with lighting, and it works with these kind of like lazy textures or these really flat textures to make everything look pretty, as basic and as simplistic as it is, as generic all of it is. Again, Metropolis doesn't have a personality in this game. It's a bore fest of a freaking city. You're gonna be running around Metropolis, bro, and you're gonna realize this is just empty room, empty space. There's a bunch of areas you're never gonna run through, by the way. There's a bunch of streets you're never gonna go through. This game is so devoid of personality, and you never have a reason to even interact with whatever personality could exist within this game. But again, it's so painfully flat how the game looks, right? And Metropolis looks like a hodgepodge of just, I don't even know why some of these locations exist. It's so random. You could say some of the areas are fine, but like the biggest issue is Metropolis just doesn't have a personality. You look at Arkham Asylum, you look at Arkham City, you look at Arkham Knight, and a lot of these games had personality to the world of Gotham, to the world of Batman, right? This game doesn't have any of that. It's very strange, the graphical quality, but just back to the freaking combat, man. The combat is just so unbelievably lazy, and it's so tedious to play with. You unlock certain abilities over time, and like it's just a free one-shot, but it doesn't make it, as you play throughout this game and all of its combat, you're never going to actually feel like you've made any progress. And again, as I said, you have many rarities of weapons in this game, and it's hard to even tell, do any of them do any different damage? Are any of them actually stronger or weaker than other weapons? You can get certain add-on effects, right, that boost certain stats, certain damage numbers, whatever. And you'll be like, I don't notice a difference. I don't notice a different interaction. Pretty much all the weapons in this game are really pretty much the same. All the weapons are not even imaginative or creative or fun to really play with. They're all very basic. You have a minigun, which, miniguns are roughly fun to play. But you have a minigun, you have pistols, SMGs, assault rifles, shotguns, and snipers. And that's it. And all these weapons, right, functionally, they're really not that unique from each other. Again, the damage is not really that much different from one to the other. Some of the guns, right, different fire rates. Some of the guns, slightly higher damage numbers, but really, there's very little that's actually different. And that's the other thing too, by the way. There's a mechanic to use a counter shot, right? So you can shoot bullets or you can shoot counter bullets, which is a weird way of like doing a ranged kind of counter attack against enemies that are charging up an attack. And by the way, that is so awkward in this game to use counter shots, because sometimes an enemy will be primed to get counter shot, right? They're charging up an attack. You'll counter shot them, nothing will happen. It's just small little things like that. As you're playing the combat in this game, again, nothing feels like it's changing. Nothing feels like it's different. You're always unlocking new things that don't really seem different from other things that you got. They don't seem like upgrades. So then you're kind of like, well, what's the point of new gear? I can't really tell. It's just a different color, right? It's a different color of gear. That's it. And then the other thing, it's how repetitive. What you start with in this game is what you end with. They don't do anything to actually make you more engaged, right? Or to alleviate some of the, some of the more, I don't even want to say difficult, right? Some of the more annoying aspects of the gameplay or the gunplay. So that's just, overall, that's just my thoughts about the combat. There's so little that I really have to say that's good about the combat in this game. The traversal systems are interesting, right? It's kind of cool to have it. And let's just say this too, by the way. This game is such a hodgepodge of Just Cause 3, Saints Row 4, what's another game? Crackdown. It's also a lot like Crackdown. This game copies so many elements, both thematically for the cutscenes, right? It's like they watched a bunch of different movies and they just smashed all those themes and characters from different movies that they watched into the story. Same thing with the gameplay. They just played a bunch of different games within the gaming industry, some of them good, some of them bad. And then what do? They just made this game a huge hodgepodge of all those games. A weird mixing pot. So, Shark, what can Shark do? He leaps. What does Harley Quinn do? She basically has the bat claw. She just grapples around. She can swing in the air through the bat glider or whatever. Deadshot has a jetpack, and what else? And then Boomerang, he can just teleport around with his boomerang. That's all their traversal systems. I find Shark, he's okay. He's not really that fun to traverse with, but he's mostly acceptable. He's kind of mid-level. And then when you look at Harley Quinn, she is the most annoying to play, and there's very little flow to the way that her movement system works. And when you're in the middle of combat and you're pressing all these freaking buttons, bro, holy crap, is it just freaking annoying. There's just too many buttons and too many things that you're keeping up with Harley Quinn. It's not fun. And there's certain things that have certain interactions. You don't even feel like you're having the interaction. I'm just going to leave it there. Her traversal system is annoying. Then Boomerang. He's probably the most fun because you throw a boomerang, right? You wait a certain amount of time and then you teleport to the location, right? So you can release it early, you can release it later, but basically you can go anywhere you want, right? If you want to go up to a roof, you just throw the boomerang, you wait a couple of seconds, you're right up there. So he's mostly fun because you can really just choose whatever direction you want to go in, and then he has dashes that he can do too, just like Shark. He can do 3 dashes before, during, or after his boomerang throws, and he has 2 of them. The second one is shorter. Then you have Deadshot, and he can recharge. He can use his jetpack, fill up a meter. You can recharge it to midair to use it again. And yeah, you just fly around with his jetpack. And I would say his movement system is also pretty alright. When you aim with your weapon with Deadshot, he'll sit midair, right? Kind of like Halo 5 Guardians, that game. You know, if you aim midair, it'll pause you midair because of the jetpack. And so you can like jump up midair, use a sniper, get a shot off, run around, jump up again, get a shot off. You know, if there's like enemies at certain positions or whatever. So it's like that can be a little bit of fun to just utilize that mechanic. But there's something weird about Deadshot where he just does, like compared to Boomerang, he feels, and then maybe even a little bit with Shark too, he just feels a little bit slower to play. It's really weird. And you have to press an extra button with his jetpack to super boost it. So, and which means that you can't really use the jetpack for much longer. So it's okay. The traversal system's all right. It's not really that great, but it's not like it's terrible. But oh boy, man. I mean, the gameplay though, it's just not that fun. And after everything I've experienced, here's one thing, right? There's certain games that have kinks and weird deficiencies that you could call it with the overall game design, right? Like maybe certain weird things about the combat that's annoying, whatever. An example could be like Final Fantasy Strangers of Paradise. You could say that game. But for games like Final Fantasy Strangers of Paradise, the fundamental gameplay is fun. The counters are not overly tedious and annoying. And I ended up wanting to play that game more, right? In its late game, in its end game, past finishing the game. With this game, when I finished this game, bro, I do not like this combat. There's very little part of me that actually wants to finish this game, like all of its late game. I played a little bit of the late game, and one of the things I do have to give this game for, before we get into the story, because that is just a freaking dog water horse crap mess. When you look at the late game, it did add a lot of mechanics and a lot of systems that you can interact with to boost up your gear, to grind for better gear. So I have to give that to this game. Like there's new enemies too. There's new weapons. There's a late game to this game. Now, how much of an actual late game is there, right? How much of this is just redundant content, right? It's like, well, we just added like, now you can unlock new sets of certain weapons, or, you know, a certain set for a certain set of weapons and items. Oh, but by the way, it's only 2 sets, right? Like, is it just only a little bit of content? I don't know. Apparently, this game's going to get a bunch of updates, so we're not even getting the full game at release. Okay. Or you know, a game with sizable content in it. And then there's missions, late game missions you can play. You can fight Brainiac at the end of the game, which he basically just imps off as all the Justice League. So you're just refighting the Justice League, and they're saying that it's Brainiac. So they didn't even give Brainiac his own combat system. And by the way, you never interact with Brainiac all throughout the game until late game, right? Until the story's over and you're into late game. That was such a bad move, but we're going to get into the story a little bit here. At least they did try to put into this game a late game, things to grind for. I just don't know how much substance there really is to it, because there's really no substance to this game itself. So, I don't even enjoy the gameplay of this game. There's so much empty space to traverse around in this empty city that the traversal system is just annoying. It's just a bunch of empty space to run through, just to waste your time. And then the movement system and the gunplay is not fun enough for me to want to keep on playing the game, right? Into the late game. So what does all that even mean? Okay, they put a late game into an annoying, tedious game. Okay. It's not really worth much at that point. All right, so now we're going to get into the story. Holy crap, dude. The freaking story. So that's everything, right? With the combat, it's everything with the world design, level design. It's not inspired. It's not interesting. It's not unique. Metropolis doesn't have a personality. And one of the questions I have to ask, why didn't we just get a Justice League game? And also, why didn't we just get a Superman game? One of the issues is, like, one of the big baddies of this game is Superman, right? Because he's a living nuke, right? That's what he is. Well, what's the issue with this? Superman barely has a character in this game. We barely have anything to be connected to with Superman, because guess what? Rocksteady never made a Superman game. Now, with how woke the freaking companies become, and how invaded they've been by all these ideological warriors. Okay, whatever. I don't want them to make a freaking Superman game. They won't pay his character any kind of respect or any sense of homage that he deserves, okay? Like they did with Batman, because it's just different guys nowadays, you know? For one, there's way too many women in gaming. They're ruining the freaking industry. But then also, you know, the men that are left, they're all just soy boy Redditors who are, you know, they have this syringe of upload of soy coming from Reddit, right? This upstream of freaking soy and estrogen and testosterone blockers being uploaded from their Reddit consciousness. That's what we get nowadays. We just have a bunch of soy boy writers, we have soy boy developers, and we have a bunch of Karen women who, oh my gosh, the horse crap that they make, and how vindictive they are against the game, this game's characters, how vindictive they are against men in specific in general, and how much they hate the world of DC and these characters. They don't pay any of these characters any sort of respect. So the story, right? Holy crap, is the story of this game bad, man? And it's after everything, right, that I said right there, that I don't want them to make a Superman game. This company is dead. The men who built Rocksteady are no more. And this game shows all of it. There's no respect for the characters. I'm glad that they didn't make a Superman game. But what's sad is that you have all these ideological warriors who hate these characters, and for some reason, they're working in these companies on these characters. If you hate Superman, Batman, you know, and oh, by the way, okay, and God, dude, listen, these characters are not these characters, by the way. Wonder Woman is not Wonder Woman. Harley Quinn is not Harley Quinn. Green Lantern is not Green Lantern. Deadshot's not Deadshot. King Shark, Boomerang, Flash, Superman, Batman, all these characters, none of them are the characters. And the writing is so terrible in this game. It is written by autistic Zoomers / millennial types. Again, it's so autistic. The story of this game, these characters within this game. And I basically gave it all these characters these names, okay? You have Harley Quinn, who is autistic Brittany. You have King Shark, who is autistic Bruce. You have, and the writing, by the way, in general in this game is incredibly autistic and just Reddit bullcrap. Just losers online, kind of horse crap, dog water writing. You have Deadshot, who is just autistic Tyrone. And then you have Captain Boomerang, which is just autistic Clive. Okay? That's all the characters right there. They're not the characters. These characters in no way pay any respect to who they actually are. Okay? Batman's not Batman. Wonder Woman is just some freaking feminist, menopause, woke, virtue signaling paragon, right? She's better than all of us guys, and she's so strong. You know, we have to give her all these moments in the game where the writers do everything in their power to give Wonder Woman all the emotional manipulation moments in the game, so that they want to force it so that you identify. By the way, Poison Ivy is in no way Poison Ivy in this. Again, no character is their character in this game. But they emotionally manipulate with Wonder Woman constantly to try and force you to like her, right? Because she's the good one. She's the one that, you know, everyone's evil is Wonder Woman, who somehow didn't get brainwashed by Brainiac. And so there's so many issues there. Holy crap. But apparently, right, she's such a good woman, and she's so strong, so courageous, so brave. They do everything in their power to force you to like her, right? By trying to make her the morally righteous and most virtuous individual in the game, which is just, again, it's cheap emotional manipulation. It doesn't even work that way unless you have like 40 IQ points, okay? If you're an idiot and you can't tell what they're trying to do to you, then fine, right? Also, if you're also addicted to positive emotion, it's going to work on you because, again, you're low IQ, okay? 40 IQ. Okay, that's not even low IQ. That's really bad IQ. But anyways, whatever. So that's the issue with those characters, man. There's so many issues. Let's just... So none of the characters, by the way, are the characters. Green Lantern is black. Okay, Green Lantern is not black. He is a white man. That is the character. I don't give a crap about these freaking woke tards and their position about how anyone can be Green Lantern. No. The character of Green Lantern is a white guy. And you are skin swapping. You are fundamentally killing the character and skin swapping the character whenever you change the racial identity of that character. Green Lantern, and again, they have to do this. They don't have to do this, but they do this because of their ideology, their ideological means, right? They make Green Lantern black so that they can force black people into the story. Green Lantern is a white guy. That's the end of the story. We all know that's what the character is. That's what gave the reason why the name Green Lantern exists is because of a white guy, okay? A white character. Same thing with Deadshot. Deadshot is a white dude. They try to pull this stupid crap where they're self-aware that they race swapped him. And yes, these writers get off to doing all this woke stuff. They know they're doing things they shouldn't be doing. They know that for every good reason, they're going to get hate. And they do this anyways. Because it's to spite you, it's to spite the DC universe, it's to spite the characters, and specifically, again, is to spite you, the customer, and the individual that loves these characters, has invested time in these characters. And by the way, it's also to spite all the previous creators and what they wrote and how they made these characters. Deadshot is a white guy. They made him, in this game, they made him a black guy. And they did this just so that they could force in a black guy into the story. Okay? And then they had to do this freaking emotional manipulation bullcrap that he has a daughter and he doesn't want, and he's super protective about his daughters. It's like, oh my gosh, look, it's a black guy and he really cares about his family and specifically his kids. And like, shouldn't you obviously like this guy? Go screw yourself, dude. You are not going to pull this 40 IQ kind of bullcrap emotional manipulation tactics on me and make me just force me to like a character, especially when you literally skin swap that character. Deadshot is not Deadshot in this game. This is not Deadshot. This is autistic Tyrone is who Deadshot is. Once you swap their skin color, that's not the character anymore. You effectively killed the character. Batman is white. Superman is white. Wonder Woman is white. She doesn't even look like necessarily a white chick in this game. Lois Lane, by the way, in this game is super freaking ugly. She looks like also some kind of feminist, like, let's just put it like this. Lois Lane and Wonder Woman, they look like feminist and gender studies female professors. That's what they look like. They hit their menopause. They have these terrible bone structures. They're like halfway on the verge of looking like men. They just look like these mongrel women who not attractive. They desexualized Wonder Woman in this game. Her outfit is ugly. She doesn't look like Wonder Woman. She doesn't have this long flowing hair. She doesn't look hot, attractive, sexy. She doesn't have this, this outfit that is like some form of like stripper's outfit, also cleavage. Okay, she doesn't have a sexually appealing outfit. They deconstructed her character, but just by doing that, and this entire game is deconstruction on the characters. The one character that they paid any kind of respect towards was kind of Superman, because they didn't do a lot to deconstruct him. But still, Superman's not Superman in this game. He's a freaking joke. And they push so much freaking nonsense with the story on just revolving Superman's, Batman, all these characters. So anyways, this game is not canon. Let's just say that. But they want it to be canon. So we're going to judge it off of their stupid premise. And, screw you for how you want your deconstruction of these characters to be canon. This story, by the way, and by the way, Poison Ivy too, man. Poison Ivy is, for some reason, okay, whatever, she's like apparently dead and she came back to life. I don't give a crap what kind of stupid lore, air quotes lore, they come up with for this. Poison Ivy is an inherently sexual character. She's a woman, has sexual allure. She is the woman that you want to freaking smash, bro, okay? I mean, that's most of the women in the DC universe, but still, Poison Ivy is specifically a seductive character. That's the entire premise of Poison Ivy. What do they do to Poison Ivy in this game? They turned her into a freaking ugly child that looks like Greta Thunberg. Okay? That's what they did with Poison Ivy. What a load of freaking horse crap. They turned a character that's supposed to be innately sexual and attractive, and they turned her into an ugly, annoying, snotty, weaselly looking child. What the frick is wrong with these people? Again, the deconstruction is so wide and large in this game. That's not Poison Ivy. They forced it to be Poison Ivy, and it's the ugliest thing that I ever had to look at in this game. Penguin is in this game. Cobblepot, he's not Penguin, he's not Cobblepot. And they do so many things to deconstruct him, trying to make him look like this, to come across as this loser, this hobbling old loser. Bro, he is supposed to be this guy that is pompous, right? He has a bunch of prestige. He has this huge pride and ego. That is his character. And they do things to just make a freaking joke out of the character, right? It's just an excuse to laugh at a white guy who's they forced to be a loser in this game. It's so pathetic. So Penguin's not Penguin, Poison Ivy's not Poison Ivy, and they do so much just to make these characters losers, to make them ugly, to make them just... And this is one of the things that we're doing now with so many modern characters. These characters used to be exceptional people or great people, right? Or someone that is more than average. Now guess what we've done with these characters? Now that all these freaking, woke tards have infiltrated all of these properties, all these franchises, what have they done? They've made below average people, or even bottom of the barrel people, the heroes of stories and the villains. That's never been the way that these characters were made. That's never been the entire purpose of these characters, right? Catwoman is what? She's a sexy chick she's elusive, she's elastic, right? That's her character. That's Catwoman. What would they do nowadays? There's a reason why she's not in this game. There would be even more upset if she were in this game. But again, just think about Harley Quinn. Oh God, we haven't even spoken about Harley. oh my gosh. But I mean, like, they would have done the Harley Quinn treatment or the Poison Ivy treatment on Catwoman, a different form of Poison Ivy treatment, but they would have uglified her. They would have made her flat-chested. They would have given her this suit that's completely tightened up, right? It's all zipped up. You can't see anything. She doesn't have an attractive or alluring body. Right? There's something wrong with men being attracted to women, right? But by the way, they turned Harley Quinn into a freaking female simp and fangirl in this game. And like, she's a little bit weird, like genuinely weird and maybe you know, the whole thing about creepy is such a stupid term, but legitimately, the writers seem to have somewhat creepy intentions with Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. I have no clue what's going on there, but they were just pushing some weird fangirling stuff from Harley towards Poison Ivy. I don't know what their purpose was. I don't want to know. But anyways, apparently there's some issue, right, with men being attracted to women and being attracted to attractive women. So instead, we have to basically pedo bait with Harley, and we have to make attractive feminine characters. We basically have to make them children, and not just children, ugly children. I don't understand where this idea comes from. In Wonder Woman, again, she's completely zipped up. Her outfit is so ugly. She basically is supposed to look like some kind of like Roman female, right? She's like wearing this like outfit that's like Roman centurion-esque or whatever. Like, they do everything in their power to make women come across as and look like men. And this is the thing about feminism. It's always been the intention to equate women with men. It's always been the intention to make women men. It is the inherent desire. I would say, you know, there's layers to it, but it's a form. It is a form of penis envy. Okay, their intention is to make women men. A feminist desires deep down inside to be like a man, to achieve male pursuits, male destinies, right? Male achievements. And we know all throughout history, women have never been the ones to achieve anything. Men are the ones who are built to suffer for great outcomes. That's always been what it is. And men have always been the ones who have risked everything. They've innovated everything, and they've risked their lives all throughout history. That's why these characters are male, right? That's why heroic characters are male. And when you make heroic characters not male, right? You make them female, or whatever the frick they want to come up with in their heads. That's where you destroy the entire archetype of the hero. The hero is innately male. All right, the inventor is innately male. And they do this freaking bullcrap where they always try to make women out to be exactly like men, right? That women can do the things that men do, and they don't. And women will never go through the suffering that it takes for a man to become a hero, right? And that's why no story about a woman trying to become a hero is realistic. None of it's realistic. No one believes in it, and therefore it has no impact on the human psyche. Harley Quinn, bro. There's so many points to make. There's so many things that they get wrong with this game. It's genuinely so frustrating. But Harley Quinn in this game, gosh, bro. And there's so many other points to be made. There's so many ways that they screw up everything in this game. There's so many people that are ugly in this game. Amanda Waller is one of the worst, the worst character in DC Comics to ever be brought in. I don't even know when she was brought in. I don't care. She's a terrible character. It's just an excuse for black strong woman who, oh my gosh. And there's Hack too. Let's finish the point about Amanda Waller. She's annoying. It's an excuse for a boss babe, freaking black woman, right? Who basically should be a man. Her character should be a man. There's no reason her character exists other than for diversity points. That's the only reason Amanda Waller exists. And it's just this excuse to try and, like, you know, air quotes, uplift black women by making an insufferable black female character who doesn't belong. By the way, DC Universe is a white property, is a white franchise. No one's stopping black people from making their own characters, but they keep on doing this where they have to hijack other people's franchises, other people's stories, other people's characters, specifically white stories, white characters. And we're seeing this right now all throughout media, modern media, and our culture, Where it's like, if it's white, if it's a white character, someone of melanin has to take it. That is the way that we are writing right now. That's the way we're creating these characters. And that's the way that we are deconstructing everything. Again, what is the world of DC? It's a bunch of white people, okay? It was Americana, and it was an American construct from its very roots. And America is a white civilization. Now, of course, there's a bunch of people who are doing everything in their power to make America a non-white civilization. But that's why DC Universe exists. That's why Marvel exists. That's why so many of these characters within all these franchises exist. It's because it's a white world, white characters. It comes from an Anglo-Saxon background of ethos, philosophy, of thought. That's where all these characters come from. Superman is the ideal of the American man. That's what he is. That's what he represents. Forcing all these black characters into these stories, into these games, is just an excuse for multiculturalism to come in and deconstruct and destroy the fundamental ethical, but also philosophical core of DC, of any of these franchises. Just go down the list of anything, right? I mean, even Final Fantasy is slightly different. It's a mixture of Japanese and Anglo-Saxon philosophies and ideals. It's not Islamic. It's not, right? It's not Ethiopian. It's not Hispanic. It's none of these other groups, man. And that's what we're doing now. We are race washing white properties, white culture, and white characters. We are color washing all of this. And we're destroying, we're taking white people and we're just erasing them and replacing them. Is what we're doing with all these characters. You look at a character like Hack, who is just another random excuse. It is one of the greatest Zoomer / millennial autistic incorporations of a character. I don't know what it is about these freaking hippie glasses that she has to wear, but she is the most hodgepodge design of a character. I don't know what the freaking weird crypto bit that's covering her body. What the frick that's all for? It's one of the worst character designs in all of gaming. She's annoying. You know, she's like this Haitian hacker chick. And apparently, right, like she's like this excuse to of a black genius hacker character. Okay, none of those exist in real life. It's a complete made up persona, complete made up archetype. And they force this stuff like this into so many games, right? Blacksmiths, gunsmiths, hackers. Any kind of character that is innately male, you're effective with some kind of functional purpose, right? I'm good at fixing up a sword, good at fixing up a computer algorithm, good at doing whatever. These are innately male characters. Go look in real life. The most effective individuals at these jobs and at these tasks, and the most individuals within these tasks and these jobs are men. And they keep on trying to create these fake personalities and fake archetypes surrounding women that should be men. And again, Hack is one of the most annoying characters. She doesn't exist. She has this Haitian accent just to be, like Wakanda forever, brother. Wakanda forever. I am the Batmobile now, right? She just freaking talks. She just says a bunch of random stuff. I mean, got into the dialogue. The dialogue is super nonsensical. They'll just say a bunch of stuff. They'll just ramble a bunch of freaking nonsense. But she just, she talks in the Wakanda forever freaking accent all freaking day. And she's just a fake character that no one ever asked for, no one likes. By the way, another annoying thing, all the security detail in this game are women. Why are the security detail women? They're supposed to be like this synonymous task force with like Marines or like the Secret Service, right? This is a high-end governmental military unit that Amanda Waller is supposedly leading. Why are there a bunch of women in this task force? And a bunch of the women, by the way, guess what? They all look like dudes. Again, what is this freaking crap? We cannot have women in games anymore. This is what drives me nuts. The women have to be masculine. The women have to act like men. Harley acts like a freaking autistic little an autistic 7-year-old boy. It's same with freaking Poison Ivy, dude. She's like a 7-year-old Karen. I don't. These characters are so bad, man. And they're such deconstructions of who the characters are. Holy crap, there's just so much to go through, man. Okay, let's get into Harley Quinn, by the way. These characters, for one, are insufferable. The writing in this game is insufferable. It is basically written by autistic Redditors and Tumblers, right? before the Tumblrs had all run off to Reddit because Tumblr just died. This game is written by autistic loser Redditors and Tumblrs. And there are way too many women, by the way, who wrote for this game. It was like 5 or 6 women. They did a lot of the script writing, and it reads like the random babbling and the useless dialogue and the needless drama. Constant desire within writing to create drama. Like, oh my gosh, I'm going to insult you for this. Oh my gosh, I don't like you for that. Oh my gosh, you're not the real leader. I'm the leader. Just all this freaking like passive aggressive, all this freaking autistic female and also feminist writing is so annoying. And it's like 5 to 6 women that wrote for this game, and a lot of them were the script writers, and it reads like it. This game has some of the worst and most cringeworthy dialogue. Oh my gosh. All right, let's get into Harley. Freaking A, dude. Okay. What is Harley Quinn as a character? Harley in this game, for one, behaves and acts like she is over Joker. There is no world where Harley is ever over the Joker. She is, what is Harley? She is a silly, funny, fun, and coy, flirtatious, maniacal, female maniacal. The past Arkham games nailed this. Specifically, I'm going to be replaying soon Arkham Knight. Arkham City, though, and Arkham Asylum nailed Harley's character. She's not stronger than the men. She's never above any of the men. She's dumber than the men. She's weaker than the men. She's just maniacal female. She's just a chick that's loopy. She's crazy, but she's fun, okay? What is Harley Quinn? She is the stripper who joins her pimp's circus. That is Harley Quinn. She's this hot chick. She's basically a stripper. Hot chick kind of level of that's the level of hot chick she is. She has a pimp. Her pimp is Joker. She likes the kind of madness and the pain of the world of Joker. She gets off on it. Okay? She likes the chaos. And she joins the world that he creates, and it's a circus. Okay? She's maniacal feminine to his maniacal masculine. I don't give a crap if Joker's dead. I don't give it a crap. That is Harley's character. Whether Joker's alive or not, she is alpha widowed by Joker. Joker is her alpha. And Harley is the foe of Joker. It is as simple as that. She's pimped out by the guy, and she does whatever he wants her to do. Okay? That's Harley Quinn. She is an incredibly effeminate character. She is incredibly submissive to Joker's character. That is Harley Quinn. There are no concessions about this. That is who she is. That is why so many men, it's not like it matters who loves it. Specifically, this character was made for men, because DC Universe was made for men. But this is why men and women love Harley's character. Okay? Who Harley ever was and is. Not this game. This game is non-canon. This game, all it does is deconstruct every single character that we've ever known and loved. Okay? Harley is feminine, submissive. She's coy. She's silly. And what does she do? She's the stripper that joins her pimp's circus. What does that mean? She just has fun within his chaotic world. She lays a trap in Arkham Asylum for Batman, which isn't even supposed to work. It's just a silly trap that she sets up where Batman, right? He calls for an elevator, and she traps the elevator. She jury rigs it so that it breaks, and it just starts falling down the elevator shaft to crush Batman. Now, the entire situation, it's not going to work. It's not going to work against Batman in general. It's not going to work at all. But she just makes fun. She doesn't mock or anything. She doesn't, and that's the other thing about Harley. She doesn't make fun of men. She doesn't speak down to men. That is not her character. She looks up to and she respects men, whether they're Joker or not. But she's maniacal feminine, so she's Looney Tunes. and she has fun with the chaotic world surrounding Joker. That is Harley's character. Rocksteady and its male developers and male writers, they understood her character, and they made a great character in the previous games. She was sexy, she was attractive, she was alluring, she was coy, she was silly, she was fun, she was playful, and she didn't disrespect Batman, right? But she still, she still had her intentions against Batman, which really weren't that serious. She never really wanted to ever even kill Batman, right? But she's like discomfort, right, for Batman in a similar way as Joker does, right? She just wants to make Batman's life difficult, is what it is. Similar to Joker, but Joker is different. He's a maniacal, masculine character, and his whole thing is to test Batman so that Batman tests him back, right? They both test each other. Joker is the villain that disciplines Batman in his heroism, because Joker has a certain level of mania and mastermind mentality that he tests and he pushes Batman to his limits in order for Batman to excel at the highest and to refine at the highest level his heroism. What does Batman do for Joker? Well, Batman is the test. He's the guinea pig for all of Joker's schemes, right? And all of his mania and all his masculine forms of Looney Tunes. That's the entire dynamic, though, between all these characters. Harley and Joker love testing Batman, right? Because it's their entire chaotic world that they're facilitating, and Batman's the guy that's trying to stop them, right? Batman is the guinea pig. And the entire dynamic is what is so amazing and beautiful and great between Batman, Joker, and Harley. And this was terrifically executed upon in the previous games. Now, I can't speak with much recency on Arkham Knight, so I'm only speaking for Arkham City and Asylum, because I've finished and I played those games recently. I can speak with the most memory on those. As far as I remember, though, that was in Arkham Knight. I can't offer any analysis into that, so we're just going to leave it there. What have they turned Harley Quinn's character into in the modern age? What have they done to her? She is now what they want her to be. She's not actually this, but this is what they want her to be. A feminist icon. They want her so badly to be a feminist icon. They don't want her to be feminine. They don't want her to be attractive, silly, effeminate, right? They don't want her to be this character that for one, specifically, men love, right? They love Harley's character. And, they love all kinds of other characters. They love characters like Tifa, Aerith, right? And Catwoman. But just, you can go down all kinds of women in gaming that are not woke characterizations. Although, we could actually get into, is there anything woke to certain characters? Yes. But these characters are largely very feminine. And they're women, for one. Most and foremost, they're women. And this is the thing about female characters. They're supposed to support male characters. They're not the name of the game. They're not the protagonist. Yes, they are the side character. They are the sidekick. Harley is Joker's sidekick, for crying out loud. Even in death, Harley is so obsessed with Joker, he lives in her mind past death. She's obsessed with him. Her whole world revolves around that man. Love of God. She's a woman, dude. She's a female character. That's what Harley is. And what they've done is that they've turned her into this androgynous, masculine character. They gave her a wider jawline in this game. They uglified her in so many ways. They desexualized some of her aspects, right? They nerfed her freaking breasts. There's so many ways that they made Harley less attractive in this game. They gave her these ugly little hair buns. They gave her this fade haircut in the back. They did everything they could to just make her look like a freaking man in this game. That's not Harley's character. Harley is not, no female character is meant to be an aspiring man. The only thing in the world that is an aspiring man is a feminist. And they live in the contempt of men. And that's what Harley's character now today is. She is in contempt of men. Because she's a feminist icon. She's a feminist character. Now she's not an icon again. But that's what these feminists who hijacked the DC universe and hijacked our characters, that's what they want Harley Quinn to be. They want her to be a masculine feminist character. They want her to be in contempt of men because these writers are in contempt of men. It's as simple as that. And that's the issue that we're looking at when we're looking at this game with what they did to Harley. She acts like an autistic 7-year-old boy. She acts so ridiculous. She is so annoying. She's always babbling on and on. There's so many examples I could give, like, and you can just watch the game, right? And you'll just see it all. Dude, she's always having to talk down to men. She's always saying stupid autistic stuff. She's always cracking the worst jokes. Bro, in Arkham City and Asylum, Harley was funny. She was smoking hot, but she was funny. She was fun to listen to. I loved her character. In this game, she's annoying. She's bratty. She's autistic, right? She'll laugh autistically like a 7-year-old boy at chaotic events happening in the world. She behaves like a thrill-seeking boy. She behaves like, right, like an adrenaline junkie. That's a male archetype. Men are adrenaline junkies. Men are the ones who find crazy fun and like risk-taking and risking their lives and doing crazy things. That's not a feminine thing. Again, this is a masculine woman, and this is a feminist characterization / archetype. In a lot of ways, it is autistic femininity to try so difficultly to behave like men in the worst ways possible. It's annoying. Her character is terrible. Her character is deconstructed. This is not Harley Quinn. And for that one reason alone, I hate this freaking game. They destroy everything that is great and beautiful about. Everything there is to love about Harley's character is destroyed in this game. And that alone, man, I hate that towards the end of the game, it's like they try to pull feminist lines about how she has a neurochemical degree, blah, 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 about how, like, oh, Harley, you're so smart, you have a neurochemical degree. And bro, off screen, she counters Batman's fear gas with her own. We don't see what she does on screen. It's never been explained previous. They do everything they can to have Harley one-upping the men in this game, in the story, especially Batman. And you know, one of the weird things is, like, Harley drives on the same impulse as Joker. Batman has to live in order for Harley to have an existence. Harley wants to make Batman's world harsher and more difficult, but she doesn't want to kill Batman. And that's one of the biggest issues of what they do in this game. They try to make her want to kill Batman. No, she wants to make him miserable, right? In a way that's like, it's for the sake of mania, right? To give her a reason to laugh. That's her character. And it's from a feminine angle. Again, she's the feminine aspect of Joker. So the ways that she tries to do things is not exactly as Joker, but she still wants to test Batman, just, you know, less intelligently and less strategically, you could also say, as the Joker, okay? In this game, and like the only thing that she would ever try to do, right, is torture the people that Batman knows, but not directly torture Batman. That's something that, even if she did that, she wouldn't go that hard. Again, for her to exist as a character, Batman must exist. So that's just one layer of deconstruction. The only people that Harley would ever kill or hurt, right, like genuinely torture, is everyone that Batman knows. Again, they deconstructed her character so wide and far. It pains me. Wonder Woman, by the way, is not Wonder Woman in this game. She's just a feminist icon for the writers. It's like, oh, look, this is what a perfect woman is like. And she's, you know, she's just always, she's compassionate to a fault. And she's like, the men around her are just bad and they're messed up and they just want to bring chaos onto the world. And she just knows better. And she's the woman that softens the world. And she keeps men from their worser ways. It's just the freaking feminist nonsense. Again, the strongest and the safest societies have always been patriarchies, always been led by men. A world, oh yeah, and by the way, this game loves to have mental illness flags posted up every time you leave the hub area. Yeah, by the way, the mental illness brigade, the mental illness pantheon and symbol freaks, all right? They're not heroes. They are not Batman, they're not Superman, they're not Wonder Woman. This freaking liberal horse crap that they try to push into these games, where it's like everyone is the hero. No, they're not. These heroes, for one, they're white and they're straight. Simple as that. They're white and they're straight. That's the characters, that's the heroes. If you want your own characters, go make them. Go make your black, non-straight characters that no one's going to spend money to buy because no one cares. But go make it. We don't want your horse crap. Leave us alone. If you love your little identity so much, go make your own thing. Stop hijacking our characters. Stop making our white characters black or whatever other color tone that they're going to try and make them or other race they try to make them. And stop trying to change the sexuality. Freaking screw you, man. These are not your characters. Go make your own. Don't stop being a freaking lazy bimbo and go make your own characters. As simple as that. These freaking losers, dude. And how they had to hijack everything. And they act like they're in the right for hijacking what other people love and destroying what other people love. And one of the things, too, by the way, that you can tell with this game, the writers absolutely identify with the villains in this game. And they literally, I don't know what it is about modern writers, but they do so much in their power to sympathize with and identify with the villains in their stories. And it happens with this game. They do everything in their power to make you identify with Deadshot. By the way, dude, there is no such thing as trying to emotionally identify with heroes and villains. We don't care about Superman's love life, or, well, we care that Superman's banging Lois, right? It's like, you're scoring the girl, right? Right, bro? You're scoring the girl, right? And he is. Okay, good. You know, Batman, we care that he's scoring the chick, like Catwoman, Talia, whatever. We care that Batman's getting laid, but, like, it's not the premise of the character. It's not what's making us, you know, that's not the hinge of why these characters exist and why we want to spend any time with these characters. And it's the same thing, right, with Wonder Woman and like all these characters. Well, okay, specifically with Wonder Woman, what we care about is the fact that Wonder Woman is getting smashed by either Superman or Batman. The entire purpose with these characters, though, is that just because a character has a family does not mean that I care about that character. It does not mean that I should like that character. Just because Deadshot has a daughter, and they try to emotionally manipulate you with this, and again, they just want to have an excuse to put a black teen into the story, right? So that more diversity, great, thank you. We didn't ask for that, but you want to force it in. No one cares that Deadshot has a family. And honestly, it's never crossed anyone's mind that Deadshot should have a family as a character. It literally makes absolutely no logical sense that Deadshot would ever have this daughter, and that anyone should care that he has a daughter. What is Deadshot? He's just a villain. That's it. He is a guy that fights against Batman. He's the guy that is indifferent to Batman. That's all we want to know. That's all these characters are for. We don't want to know about, we don't want this again, this is female writing. We have to know about their hidden family life. We have to know about all these things that humanizes these different people, including supervillains. Where the frick do we get this idea that we need to identify with the freaking supervillain and that we have to make them like real life people? The point of these characters is to not be so autistic as to make it real life. These characters are not for the sake of escapism, but they are for the sake of pursuing an ideal. Some sort of idealistic idea, whether that's the villain ideal or the hero ideal. One or the other. Okay? These characters are icons. They're symbols. They're not real people. And that's a whole other conversation. We're not going to spend this video on that. We're talking about this game, okay? But they have a fundamental misunderstanding about how these characters are meant to be expressed, how they're meant to be shown, and how they're meant to be written. And listen, man, it's as simple as this. You either got it or you don't. When you write these characters, you either understand these characters or you don't. Alright? The reason why Superman, Deadshot, Batman, all these characters exist is because someone understood it. They just got it. They understood how a character needs to be expressed. They understand how a character needs to be explained or determined, right? How much is too much explaining? How much is too little, right? How much is really important for the reader or for the audience to know, and how much is so unnecessary? No one needs to hear about that, right? They understood how to make characters. Modern autistic losers are not built for this. They're not built to write these characters. to make these characters, to explain these characters. They don't understand how much is too much, how much is too little. They don't understand what is relevant to be told in a story, what needs to be cut out. They don't understand these differences, so they will throw things into the story that doesn't belong. They will make things a theme or a symbol or a character that never should have been a character. And that's the thing with these heroes. Heroes are not everybody, and they're not for everybody. For one, heroes are normal people. They are normative individuals. They are normal people who are exceptional. They are the exceptional, normal person. Normal is not average. They have normal tendencies for the most part, right? A normal thing to desire power for different reasons. And there's different angles of desiring power, desiring wealth. So you make characters on different angles that care about power, that care about wealth. Maybe they don't care about every sense of wealth, but they care about specific types of wealth, right? The only way you can make a story is based in enlightenment, and the only way you can enlighten is being within reality. You can only make stories and characters within reality. And that's the only way that you can enlighten people. The only reason anybody spends money for a story is for the sake of enlightenment. And a character resembles the pursuit of an ideal within that pursued enlightenment, right? These stories about Batman, about Superman, about even like a villain like Joker, there's a certain ideal that is being characterized within the persona of the character. And that is being pursued within a storyline. And either the character gets what they want or they don't get what they want. And there are takeaways you get from a great story. In stories, what do? They pass down generational value. Something that is worthy of maintaining, something that is worthy of expressing, something that instead of me going through my everyday life, I should sit down and listen to your story. You are doing something that it's not really a privilege, but it's like for the sake of the argument, right? When you talk about these woke writers, this is a privilege for you. What you are doing right now, when you are a woke writer, this is a privilege for you. You are in the position to prove yourself that you have something of worthy value to show to the audience. If you cannot do that, and you lie to them, and you deceive them, and you are malicious to them with these characters and these themes, not only are you categorically evil, that's a separate conversation, but you are categorically evil, but also you are bastardizing the entire practice of this art, which is storytelling. And if they don't care about storytelling, then just make a bland game that no one cares about, that is boring and that is lame. Then go do it. There's a reason why we want stories. There's a reason why we want characters. There's a reason why it's not just a video game. There's a reason why you have a writer on your team. And they used to understand that. They used to understand this. They used to understand persona, right? They used to understand characterization. They don't understand these things anymore. So Harley in this game is deconstructed. She's not Harley Quinn in this game. What they do to Batman is disgusting. And all the ways that they hijack these characters, but there's so many things to say, man. Before we talk about, oh my God, there's so many, dude, there's so much they get wrong with this game. It is ridiculous. Again, you either got it or you don't. Let me finish this point. There's so many things that are wrong. Listen, not everyone's meant to be the hero. Heroes are the exception. They're exceptional individuals. And what does that mean, by the way? They're the exception of the majority. The majority of people, a hero and a supervillain, they are the exception of most people. Superman does not represent every single man. He is the exceptional man. Batman does not represent. Joker does not represent. Green Lantern. Wonder Woman. None of these characters represent most people. Even the people that they're modeled off from, normal people. They are the exceptional individual of their character traits, and they're also pursuing an ideal within their character traits. There are people who are never meant to be in stories, and there are people who do not belong in storytelling, and there are people who do not compose of the character that is worthy of someone spending money or spending their time with that story. When you read very old stories, like within the Bible, you're not told every single lesson under the sun. Characters are not detailed by everything under the sun. You have characters that are personified by very specific character traits and very specific narratives following who they are as individuals. Okay, this has to be understood. A story, and a great story, does not encompass all people. It encompasses select individuals who are the pinnacle of all people. And all people, what is characterized by most people, the figurative air quotes, all people, normal people, normative people. When you try to make a character non-normative, irregular, that is where you are killing the character. And that's where you are killing the entire purpose of writing a story. Therefore, there is no story, and there is no reason for the story. That is the problem of what we see here with this game, is that you have a bunch of characters, they should have never even been characters to begin with. There are silly and stupid things that also happens within this game, within the writing, within the characters. And again, there's so many characters that shouldn't even be characters in this game. There's so many people that just don't belong. Toyman is a freaking joke when he shows up. It's like, this guy is not a guy that you put in a freaking story. This is not what people are spending money to see. You're wasting people's time and you're wasting their money. You have to show people someone that's relevant. Someone that is worth putting your time and money into. Not some freaking twank. Not some freaking, again, this freaking, this diversity and inclusion BS. Enough, man. This is not what people spend money for. No one's asking for this. And that is not the characters. And that is never what founded the entire premise of DC Comics or Marvel. Okay. Before we get into Batman and Superman, okay, here's another thing to say. You never make the character also self-aware. And they do so much autistic writing where these characters are self-aware of their own value. Like, oh, I'm supposed to be a bad guy. Oh, I'm supposed to be a hero, right? Flash, at a certain point in the game, he's like, I'm the hero of this story or whatever. He says something like that. And it's like, dude, this is crappy writing. You never have a hero be self-aware of what they are to whatever is going on in their life. A hero is characterized by what they do, by the values and the virtues that they are characterizing and that they're pursuing after, not what they say they are. Superman never says, I'm the hero of Metropolis. He never sits there and says that I am this upstanding citizen. I'm this guy that's, I'm a Samaritan, I save people. No. Superman just does. He doesn't say what he is. He just does it. And therefore, he is characterized by it. He is labeled by that. And that is apart and aside from anyone mischaracterizing Superman, because that can happen. But ultimately, the actions of Superman is defined onto him by his actions, not by what he or other people say. But ultimately, a part of his character is that other people will say what he is. Same thing with Batman, right? He is the Knight. He's the Dark Knight, right? He's not super self-aware of what he is. He ends up being of what he is to Gotham by doing what he does. And of course, then maybe he does select a name, right? I am the Dark Knight. But ultimately, what he does for the people of Gotham that reinforces that identity. So anyways, let's just, enough at this point. Green Lantern. They push the dumbest thing with Green Lantern. Let's just make a quick point on this. What they do with Green Lantern is freaking stupid. Apparently he's brainwashed. You, as a Green Lantern, only have the ring if you are pure of will and pure of heart. Explain to me how the frick, when Green Lantern is no longer of his own mind, he is no longer of his own will, he is still in possession of the ring. When he is brain controlled, mind controlled, brainwashed by Brainiac. And by the way, the writing is so bad in this game, characters are not even brainwashed by Brainiac because they have these moments of consciousness. It's like, no, you're brainwashed. Like, they have moments where they seem to question themselves. It's like, no, that's not the character. And that's not Brainiac. They're brainwashed. There is no sense of like, oh, I'm doing the wrong thing, or oh, I'm actually Green Lantern, or oh, I'm actually Superman and this is who I used to be. No, they're brainwashed. They live and they exist by now what Brainiac is telling them to do. So they constantly destroy their own immersion just through little things like that. They do it in many other ways too. But that's just one example. One huge plot destroying example. But also, Green Lantern should not even be a villain in this game because he's no longer pure of will, pure of heart. That's his entire purpose as a character. And for some reason, and again, it's just off of the simple premise. Literally, Green Lantern is not in possession of his own mind anymore. He's brainwashed. He's mind controlled. How the heck does he have the ring? And then you have Shark, who is not, he's a freaking supervillain, bro. He's a supervillain character. And guess what? He's able to slip on the ring to his freaking pinky. By the way, the ring is capable of fitting onto a finger. It's so ridiculous, though. Like, it, for whatever reason, it doesn't fit on. So maybe, right, it doesn't select Shark. But it doesn't matter, because it's like, okay, but it shouldn't work on Shark to begin with. It literally fits onto his pinky fingernail by the very tip. It's so stupid. And then he is able to encompass its power. Again, and they do nothing to explain this. They pay no respects to the characters. None of this is canon. This is not DC. This is a freaking joke. This is a parody. This game and this story. But stupid things like that is what happens. And you're like, what the heck is going on here? That's not even how Green Lantern's ring works. So that right there is a huge issue. And King Shark should have never, ever been able to wield any power from the ring. It makes no sense. Now, you look at what they did with Batman. And what they did to Batman was the worst. What they did is that they jolted, from Last of Us 2, they jolted Batman. For one, they gave Harley the kill shot. It is not Harley's character to kill Batman. What an absolute joke. The way that they defeat all of the Justice League is stupid and it's moronic beyond any shadow of a doubt. The way that Batman dies is literally he sits down on a park bench and he gets shot in the cowl, which is bulletproof. Batman bulletproof. It should be bulletproof to anything. And he somehow dies. Now maybe right, and Harley has this whole issue because the feminist writers, right, they can't stand that Batman used to always say in the past games that Harley was never a bright character. She was never bright as an individual to begin with. That was her character. She's not bright. She's just, she's crazy. That's it. And what do they try to do, right? They try to make Harley get a one-up on Batman by being like, oh, you never said I was that bright and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, shut up. Shut up, man. The way that they try to deconstruct her character and ultimately spit in the face of Batman for what he said that was correct. And again, it's just the feminist writers and their excuse to get payback on a male character for saying that a female character was not that bright. Well, yeah, she's a woman, number one. And two, it's Harley Quinn. She's not a smart character. Oh, yeah, just this freaking dog water horse crap that they do to these characters is unbelievable. And again, she shoots him, again, maybe he's not dead. Maybe she is stupid. She shot him square in the freaking cowl. And it's bulletproof. So Batman's not actually dead. And maybe for some reason there's blood spilling out because maybe he made there be blood in the cowl to fake his own death. I don't know. That would make no sense. It would be so stupid. Why would Batman ever expect to be killed by being shot in the cowl? Why would he plan for that? He doesn't plan for his defeat, to fake off his own death. He never even should have been defeated in this game to begin with. All the levels of what they did wrong with this. And again, Batman has fear gas put onto Harley and the rest of the squad. And then literally what happens is because Harley says I have a neurochemist degree, blah, blah, blah. Apparently she counters his poison, his fear gas. Which, the way it happens doesn't even make sense because it doesn't even do anything. It's so illogical. I can't even make sense of it, bro. Just honestly, go watch the freaking scene in the playthrough that I did. It's so nonsensical the way that it happens. I just have to leave it there. It's stupid and it's moronic. How the heck Harley makes up this random concoction off screen against Batman's fear gas? How does she even know he has Scarecrow's fear gas? and is using it then in some later predicament against them. Again, her character's not even that smart. Like, there's so many ways this doesn't work. How the writers just come up with this bullcrap. And this is the thing the writers do. They constantly, throughout this story, they write themselves out of the holes that they dug themselves. Through random retcons and random plot devices. They kill off Lex Luthor at one point. They bring him back through the multiverse, dimensional bullcrap. They go to another Earth. Are you kidding me? Like, so you guys literally just bring back Lex Luthor to life. This is the issue. So many lazy writers utilize the multiverse when it has nothing to do with their writing. Like, it should be kept out of their writing. Only intelligent writers could make multiverse work. But these lazy writers, man, it's just a way of writing yourself out of your plot holes. It's so lazy. Anyway, Batman dies on a park bench, getting shot in the cowl in the forehead by Harley Quinn. That's what happens, and it's a freaking joke. Superman 2, he dies to golden kryptonite. I don't know why it's golden, but okay. It's so silly the way they do it. And all they do is they shoot him full of, I guess, golden kryptonite bullets. It's such a freaking joke. That's how you kill Superman? And he didn't even die, by the way. They didn't even kill Superman. So Superman, without a doubt, can just come back. Because all they did was incapacitate Superman. The voice actor, by the way, was good for Superman, but Superman was not even characteristic of himself in the story. He spoke stupid. He spoke like how stupid the rest of the characters are in this game. He spoke like a freaking edgy Redditor. It is so freaking pathetic. He is not Superman. He does not speak like Superman. Brainiac is this fake intellectual, right? He's an idiot savant. What does he do? Brainiac is literally the guy who sits there. He has this entire plan, and every time the squad somehow foils his plans, he's like, it's a part of my plan that you foiled me. Don't worry, that does not matter. Like, you'll take out one of his databases, and he'll just be like, I don't care. That database meant nothing to me, and I'm not going to use it. It's completely meaningless, and you will still be foiled, regardless. It's like, okay, listen, if it doesn't matter that at all, it doesn't matter that we took out your data center, then why were you storing the data in the first place? You were spending resources to store up data, Brainiac. And then they go out of their way, you poorly defend it. This freaking band of morons who, again, the writers want these freaking losers to win. That's the only reason why this story exists and why it works. But the immersion is destroyed with Brainiac. Okay, we destroyed one of your data centers, or we destroyed this objective, that objective, and you don't care. Your grand plan isn't foiled by all of your assets being destroyed. Why do you have the assets then? None of it lines up. It destroys the immersion, and it destroys the relevance and the power of Brainiac. But even Brainiac, bro, he gets defeated. Bro, he can possess the powers of the Flash and Superman and Batman, all these. He can literally pause space and time. He can teleport the freaking squad throughout the story. Just basically like saving them from getting killed in certain moments. Bro, this guy should have just won out the gate, and he randomly gets killed. He's not a villain if his powers don't mean anything. If his assets don't mean anything, he's not a villain. There's no threat in this game. There are no villains. It's all made up stakes, all made up, threats in this story. How these people get a freaking writing job? I don't even These are some of the worst writers that not only I've seen, but the industry have seen. We used to get good writers in the gaming industry, and for some reason now, we get these people who are absolute hacks, and they're in absolute contempt of the franchises and the IPs that they're working on. How do these people get work? I don't know, but they should be fired. And after what they did to Batman in this freaking game, they deserve to be on the streets. It is so disgusting what they do. I can't even believe it, man. It's so disgusting. And it's beyond infuriating what they did. So, Wonder Woman's not Wonder Woman, by the way. And again, the women are all feminist manifestations of themselves. Wonder Woman is, they try to make her, they try to equate her to other men, right? The significance of the male characters. And it's just, she's not effeminate. She's not sexy. She's not attractive. None of the women are. Poison Ivy should have been a hot, smoking hot female, bro. Instead, they made her a child. There's so much wrong with this game. The late game is just not worth it. Yes, at least they made a late game, but it's not worth it. The combat is tedious. It's boring. It's annoying. I don't want to keep playing the game after I finished it. This game is $75, bro. They literally put microtransactions for outfits. Lazy outfits, mind you. In a $70 game that I paid $75 for. It's so pathetic. This game is not a game. It's not fun. The story sucks. The writing is terrible. The writing is written like it's made by freaking children who just do not understand how to write adult characters. And that's the other thing. These characters are not written like adults. They're written like cringy children. Cringy high schoolers, cringy college students that never grew up out of high school or middle school specifically. You know, these are, whoever wrote this dog water horse crap, they have delayed maturity. And we used to get characters, we used to get writers that understood how to make characters. They understood how to balance, you know, the female characters with the male characters, right? How to make, when to make a joke, how to make characters come across as mature but not too mature. They understood all the levels of intensity because we used to hire adults as writers for these games, for these stories, for movies, for video games, for TV shows. Now we hire children. These are childish degenerates with jobs, and they deserve nothing that they've been paid for, and they should be nowhere near a writer's pen for this entire industry. They fundamentally destroyed the characters, and again, you either got it or you don't. And these are people who don't got it. They don't understand how to make characters. They don't understand, like, you understand, like in Arkham City, for example, how easy it is to turn Catwoman into this intolerable feminist character. But because they were good writers, Catwoman in Arkham City was a sexy, attractive, alluring, elusive female, right? And she tests Batman a little bit, and she tests him within a feminine frame of mind, where she's always playing hard to get. She's not trying to disrespect Batman. She's not trying to be like difficult with Batman like a man would be, like we have with modern writers in writing now, right? Women are written to be in spite of men, and like Catwoman is like, she's kind of an independent kind of characterization, but she's not. She's independent in this way where she's still feminine, and it's kind of backfires on her, right? Because obviously there's times where Batman has to save Catwoman, and obviously Catwoman is not, she's not stronger than male characters, but she's elusive and she's elastic enough as a burglar that she gets around and she survives mostly fine, right? She survives in Arkham. That's all or in Gotham. That's all that matters with Catwoman's character. But now you understand how easy it is to just make her a feminist character, where she don't need no man. She can go do whatever the heck she wants whenever she wants, right? She doesn't need a man to save her. She doesn't. The way that they could also write her in a way where she just constantly talks down to men. It's not that she's hard to get. She's in spite of, and she disrespects men in general. This is the thing. You either got it or you don't. And the writers who wrote Arkham City, Asylum, again, I haven't picked up recently Knight, but as I remember, also happened in Knight, where they understood how to write these characters. They understood how to write the women, where even if the woman is slightly independent, and there's a bunch of caveats with that, but, right, for all it is, they understood how to even win a female character was not completely dependent on a male character, they still understood how to maintain the femininity and how to maintain the female character, not only to make her likable, to also not make her insufferable. Nowadays, we have people, they don't understand what they're doing. They don't understand the points that they're making, and they don't understand how to write these female characters. They will take every feminist urge in their body, and they will go 10 times with that feminist urge. Wherever it is that they can push their feminism, they'll do it. And wherever it is they can utilize the females to disrespect the male characters, they'll do it. And also, wherever it is that they can utilize these women to annoying dialogue that you could ever imagine between males and females, right? To always be talking back, to be always giving lip, and to always have this uncalled for sass and all this, or sass in general. But like even Catwoman though, she's not sassy. She's just alluring, she's elusive, and she's basically playful in her own elusive way, communicating with Batman. But nowadays, what would they do with her character, right? She'd be talking down to Batman. She'd be acting like Batman is less than her. She'd be acting like, it's not a properly well done job unless a woman does it. She'd just be always trying to one up the male characters. These writers nowadays, they just don't got it. They don't understand what it takes. They think that Catwoman needs to be some kind of independent, feminist, I don't need no man character. And they also think that characters like Poison Ivy, right, needs to be this know-it-all, smarty pants, like all my neurotoxins, blah, blah, blah. They need to treat Poison Ivy like she's a freaking genius now and make her a child at the same time. They had like Harley Quinn needs to constantly talk back at men and constantly speak down to men. Oh my gosh, dude. It's just... And the way that Harley would ever speak down to men was her goons, right? The thugs who worked beneath her because of Joker. And Harley never had authority because of herself, but because of Joker. And what the thugs were afraid that she would do, what Joker would do if they didn't listen to Harley. And Harley would always just call them losers because they weren't Joker, because she idolized Joker. And again, it's not that she necessarily had any disrespect, but again, these guys were thugs. These guys answered to Joker, and basically she was imprinted by Joker's outlook on the world, right? Joker respects Batman, so she respects Batman, even though she still wants to enact all these ploys against Batman. Harley sits there and calls her thugs losers. Why? Because Joker looks at his thugs as losers, right? And they're thugs, so yeah, they are losers. They're criminals, but these female characters were never written with this autistic, modernist, Redditor line of thinking, way of reasoning, where the women just disrespect male characters just because they're independent, right? No, there's a reason, there was entire methodology behind why, or philosophy behind how the women thought and how they spoke. That is how Poison Ivy was before they turned her into a freaking Greta Thunberg child. That's how Catwoman was. That's how Harley Quinn was. That's how all these characters are. And either you've got it or you don't. If you don't understand how to make these characters, you shouldn't make them at all. And these writers, they don't understand female characters. They don't understand how you write. It's this cat and mouse. It's this formula. It's this mixture of how far is the femininity is it overriding masculinity? And how much of that femininity, right, is not, you could argue is not enough or whatever, right? How much of it is, these are female characters, and how much of it is, they're not female characters? How much of it is are we making them contest the male characters, that we're undermining their masculinity? And how much of it is that they're only testing the men as far as a feminine frame of mind ever would, right? Catwoman tests Batman. From what perspective? It's just from a playful, kind of sexual, flirty angle, and that's it. It's not from the angle of, I have to contest Batman because I'm also trying to save Arkham, right? I'm also trying to be the man of the story. And that's the thing that they would do nowadays, is try and contest the men's masculinity, rather than having the women just, trying to be playful and coy towards any male character's masculinity. Because also with Catwoman, she'll test a character like Two-Face, but she doesn't inherently disrespect Two-Face. Two-Face is just standing in the way between her and whatever she wants to steal, right? So they have this kind of interaction where even though Two-Face is calling her, a biatch every 2 seconds, Catwoman does not have inherent disrespect for Two-Face. And she understands that Two-Face could kill her because she's not all powerful, because she's a female character. They understood how to balance the female and the male characters in these stories. They understood what was too much, what was too little. And honestly, we could have a whole nother conversation about this, a whole other video about this. But this is the Suicide Squad, alright? This is my entire freaking review of this game. This is all the ways that this is everything that they fail. This is everything they don't understand about the characters. And bro, because of that, right? If I had to put this into numerical terms, this is a 0 out of 10. If I had to put it into numbers, and I'm not really I don't really care about the numbering, but that's if I had to put a number onto it. This game's not worth your money, bro. They deconstruct all the characters. They don't understand how men and women interact in storytelling. They don't understand the balance. These are people who never should have been hired, never should have been writers. They don't understand the characters. They don't understand how to write. They don't understand how to balance these archetypes, right? And the intensities, masculinity, femininity. How much is it too much that a woman's testing a male character to create interesting dynamics? They don't understand these things. They waste your time with the writing. Dude, freaking autistic Clive, Boomerang in this game, right? It's just their excuse to hate on the male audience using his character. There's so many ways that they have absolute spite for the characters, the world of Arkham, the world of Gotham, the world of Metropolis, the world of DC in general. All these characters, they're not true and honest to themselves. It's an absolute joke. If there's anything to be said about this game, it should have never been made. This is a terrible game. It is a waste of money. What they do to the characters is terrible. What we've been doing, Harley Quinn is not a feminist. And what modernity has been doing so desperately hard is to make her a feminist. And that is not her character. And what they've done to her character in this game, in the Suicide Squad movie, destroys Harley Quinn's character. This game is an utter piece of trash. That pretty much wraps up all my thoughts. Listen, man, I thank you for making it through this far into the video. And dude, this makes me never want to pick up a game like this ever again.
We're 2 for 2 on killing your boys so far.
Love makes it worth the pleasure.
You think you're a team now? You're herd animals, dependent on someone else to survive. Like you, Harkness. An illiterate alcoholic who's desperate for the spotlight.
And Floyd's a deadbeat dad. Sharky's a freak who'll never be a real boy, and what was it? Oh yeah, I never was too bright. Get some new material, jerk off. You know, Joker used to be real good at hurting people with words. But you, boop. Even when you're evil, you're still too good. You had a good run, Brucey. Flying around Gotham, punching bad guys, cleaning up the streets, causing long-term mental and emotional damage to everyone you knew. It's our turn now. After all we've been through. Oh. Bet you didn't think it'd be me at the end, huh, Bats?
Are we done with your bad stand-up routine?
Almost. But you always gotta end on your best joke. Time for us bad guys to save the world.
Hear me? Is this thing on? Oh, hiya, B-Man. Harley Quinn here. How do you like my new uniform? Pretty hot, huh? Oh, I got something to show you. 1 second, B-Man. Ta-da! I'm now subbing for the old man. Old Sharp is now never been happier. In case you ain't figured it out, today is the Joker's big homecoming, and you're the guest of honor.
You have one chance to surrender, Quinn.
Tempting, Beth, but no dice. Now the inmates are running the asylum. Well, technically the Joker's goons shipped in from Blackgate, but you get the idea. Bye-bye for now.
Joker gets... Be quiet. What's going on?
B-Man. Mr. J doesn't want you following us just yet. How did you like that, B-Man? No way you're following us now. You're trapped down there till me and Mr. J are ready for you. Ha ha ha! Die, you big ugly bat! Hey, hands off the merchandise. That's my party list.
Quiet. Why the smiles next to certain names?
You're the detective, you tell me. Huh?
Get it?
You won't find Mr. J. He's in the secret lab in the gardens and... oh, crap!
Yep, I know.
Damn. Well, he'll get me out. You'll see. Coming through, B-Man. Ow!
Let the lady go, Bat Freak, or these people all get a bullet in their heads.
I think you should do what he says. It would be a shame to get blood all over my nice new outfit. What do you think, Batbrain? Like it? What am I saying? Of course you do. Who wouldn't? So anyway, here's the deal. Mr. J is really not up to a visit right now. He's not feeling himself. Well, actually, he was earlier, but that's not what I meant. He's not doing so good, and that idiot doctor I sent from here didn't help. I've seen more smarts from these bozos. I've got to run, boys. If he tries anything funny, kill him! You!
Get out of my way, Quinn.
Leave us alone, B-Man! Just leave me with him.
I said move!
Huh? No! This is all your fault! You've hounded him for years, beat him to a pulp, and for what? Why are you so mean?
Surprise! You fell for the old fake Joker gag, Batman.
Batter up!
Get back here, Harley.
But I want to know who he is, sweetie.
No one's who you think they are, my dear. Why spoil the fun?
It was all a lie.